Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another video. Hope you're all doing well and keeping safe. Today we're going to be talking about some of the latest Chelsea transfer news, the ins and outs that are worth discussing with you guys and then hearing your opinions in the comments below. But before we get into all of that, just want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also hit that like button if you're enjoying the content as well, because it helps the channel and the videos out too. But let's get into it with the name of Philippe Coutinho, the name that just keeps on reappearing and being linked to Chelsea day by day. And of course it causes so much discussion and debate around Coutinho. I spoke about him on the channel a few days ago, so you can go and watch that video. But this video is going to be about the latest news, and we were talking about more a permanent move for Coutinho that apparently was being reported, but now it's changed. And according to Sport, Chelsea are in negotiation with Philippe Coutinho's agent. The Blues want to pay a €13 million loan fee to Barcelona and also take over the player's salary. But a loan would probably be a good compromise for people who are doubtful about the move, including myself. It's a bit like the Mateo Kovacic situation from Real Madrid, sort of a try before you buy type things, you know, where Chelsea can bring in Coutinho for a season, and if he does incredibly well, then make that permanent move happen. And if it doesn't, then he probably returns to Barcelona. I think the interesting thing for me is, my opinion really hasn't changed on Coutinho, even with a loan move. You know, I'm still doubtful about the move. I'm doubtful how vital it is for Chelsea. I still firmly believe it is a luxury signing over a priority one, which I think is interesting. And one of the things I pointed out in my video about Coutinho on Sunday was high wages. Even if it was a cut price, when we were talking about a transfer fee for him, the wages were still going to be high. If Chelsea are willing to take over the player's salary, all of it, it's going to be a high salary for Philippe Coutinho. And how is that going to impact other moves that Chelsea are trying to make happen this summer? And that has always been my big sort of concern over this move, is if it impacts and derails other moves that we desperately need in the squad, that is a disappointment. And as well, the game time of the likes of Mason Mount and Loftus-CHEEK, who I want to see develop under Frank Lampard. Just looking at some of Coutinho's stats and looking at how impactful he's been for Bayern, because it has been a frustrating season, I'm sure, for him in Germany. 14 goal involvements in 15 Bundesliga starts. He's not been a regular for Bayern Munich, and that's an impressive stat right there. And you're sort of thinking about Chelsea's creativity and impact from central midfield if we were to maybe start with a 4-2-3-1, especially at home against the likes of Southampton and West Ham and Bournemouth, who we struggle to break down. Could Coutinho be the gem within there, the answer to break down defences, along with Ziyech, you know, on the right wing as well, especially in a 4-2-3-1? Could he be that player? As you see by the stats, he's very involved, he's very productive, and could he really change Chelsea, turning some of those frustrating defeats into victories? You never know. So that's why maybe Chelsea are going after him. Maybe Lampard sees that player and thinks Coutinho is the one to change fortunes for Chelsea in games where we really struggle to be as creative to break down low blocks. But I'm interested to hear your thoughts once again on Coutinho as this thing keeps on rolling on. Reports aren't really going away. How legitimate the reports are, we're going to have to wait and see. But it is something that does really interest me in terms of your points of view, because there are so many varying points of view on Coutinho. So please let me know yours in the comments below. But let's move on now from one player linked to Chelsea to another. Achraf Hakimi, I've talked about him on the channel before, about a week ago. And it's interesting because Dominic Fifield in The Athletic wrote sort of a big profile piece about Hakimi. And in that article, it was referenced and it was stated that Chelsea have been long-standing admirers of the fullback. He plays, of course, as a right-back mainly for Borussia Dortmund, where he's on loan from Real Madrid. And it's really interesting. I spoke about Hakimi before, and, you know, this is a player that's really impressive. You know, a young player as well, who's dynamic. You know, he's fast, he's productive. And as well, I think what makes him stand out among other targets for Chelsea, especially at fullback, is he's versatile, is he can play on both sides of the defence. And being that productive, you know, in the article it states that the numbers establish his reputation. No other player classed as a defender can match his rate of assists, 0.4 per 90 minutes, or expected assists, 0.21 in the German top flight during the current campaign. In terms of right back, where he's predominantly playing at the moment, Reece James is going to be Chelsea's main right back moving forward. I still expect Dave to stay at least one more year at Chelsea, so I don't think there's going to be any movement there. And one of the things that I think could maybe turn Chelsea away from Hakimi, especially if we're talking about a left back, is him not being a left footer. And, you know, this has been a problem for Chelsea and the frustration of Chelsea when Dave has played on that side, having to cut back when he goes forward. Of course, we know Hakimi's a much more attack-minded player. He's a modern fullback, so that could sort of be limited, that issue. But I just wonder, having that natural left footer on that side in an Alex Telles or a Ben Chilwell, who has been heavily linked to Chelsea, would that be much more preferred than having a right footer who has to cut back? That could be an issue for Chelsea. So it's going to be interesting with Hakimi. I still think he is further down the pecking order in terms of targets, in terms of reports. Chelsea are admirer of him, but, you know, that doesn't really mean a lot until we see, I think, this sort of speed up and get to the level as we've seen with Alex Telles or Ben Chilwell. I'm not entirely sure, but please let me know your opinions on Hakimi. Do you think he'd be a great player for Chelsea? Let me know in the comments below. And lastly, we're talking about players coming into Chelsea. Let's talk about one that's currently at Chelsea and maybe extending his time at Chelsea. Olivier Giroud. Journalist Nico Schara. Olivier Giroud's agent has been talking to Chelsea about extending his contract with the club. Apparently, the French striker wants 2 years. Marina Granovskaya only wants to give 1 year. I want Olivier Giroud to stay. I think not only the impact he's had recently for Chelsea and what he brings and all of the attributes within his game, which I think are brilliant and gives an alternative to Tammy Abraham, who's still growing into being Chelsea's main striker. So we've already seen this season how good of a player and how useful a player Giroud can be if you bring him on in certain situations and really lean on his experience. He's going to be motivated to get into the French squad for 2021 as the Euro has been moved back a year. So that, I think, would make him a really motivated player. He's a good professional. You always get a good level of performance with him, and he can score big goals as well. So I want to keep Giroud for that. And also, you know, his contract potentially being, of course, expiring in June, and Chelsea, I think, need to extend that because I don't want to see 2 strikers leave. There's been talk that potentially, of course, Giroud can leave along with the likes of Willian and Pedro, who we expect to leave at the end of their contracts. And Michy Batshuayi, I think, will potentially leave this summer as well. And I don't want to see Chelsea let 2 strikers go, just simply because getting 2 new ones in, I think, would be unlikely, or at least 2 good ones in. So I want to keep one of those strikers there, and whoever then the other striker is that comes in, who I think Chelsea will bring in, whoever it is in among the targets that have been named. I think Giroud's a really good asset to have coming off the bench or to use in certain situations, as we've seen this season. He's a really good professional. I think he's a player that's liked at Chelsea, not only by the fans, but clearly by the coaching staff and the players he plays with. I think he complements players around him so well. That's one of the great strengths of his game. And you want variety in all areas of your pitch, and I think Giroud, especially up top, adds that variety. And if Tammy has another spell next season, either on the sidelines because of injury or he struggles with confidence, we don't know who that third striker could be, but Giroud, as we've seen already, can step in, be a real professional and add something to the attack that we've been lacking. So I want to see Giroud stay. Let's hope that a deal can be made. Marina is a tough negotiator. She's not going to let up until she gets the deal she wants. So let's hope on some ways there can be a compromise there and Giroud can stay, because I want to see him in a Chelsea shirt again next season. But please let me know your opinions. Do you think Giroud should stay? Do you think this negotiation will go well and he will get that contract extension? Please let me know in the comments below. And what impact do you think Giroud can have moving forward for Chelsea? So that is it for today's video. Please let me know your opinions on everything I discussed in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch the video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and a notification bell so you never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.